A regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District will be held Tuesday, September 24th, 2024, beginning at 5:30 p.m. At the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom Administration Building of the McAllen Independent School District. I had previously called this meeting to order at 5:35 and we recessed. We are now back convened in regular session. So I'm reconvening this meeting at 5:53 p.m. Item number 2, a moment of silence. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Number 3, Pledge of Allegiance. And we have a child on the monitor.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was fast.
Tell them to slow them down.
We love when the kids are that enthusiastic. Item number 4, public comments.
We have one.
I did not get the public comment.
Here are the public comment procedures. Number
Okay, go ahead. Go for it.
1, individuals who wish to participate during the portion of the meeting designated for public comment shall sign up at McAllenisd.org at least 1 hour prior to the start of the scheduled meeting. Number 2, an individual's comments to the board shall not exceed 2 minutes per meeting. Number 3, the board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. Thank you.
Información a personas para comentarios públicos. Número 1. Las personas que deseen participar durante la parte de la reunión designada por comentarios públicos deberán registrarse en McAllenisd.org al menos 1 hora antes del inicio de la reunión programada. Número 2. Los comentarios de un individuo a la Junta no excederán de 2 minutos por reunión. Y por último, número 3. La Junta no tolerará la perturbación de la reunión por parte de los miembros del público asistente. Gracias.
Thank you. We have one public comment. Ms. Blanca Robinson, thank you for joining us today. You will have 2 minutes. They will be annotated up at the top there. We will not interrupt you, so the timer will start when you start speaking.
Hi, my name is Blanca Robinson. My children are a mixed race, African American and Mexican. My husband and I met in the military. We both are disabled veterans. I was hesitant at first to raise my children here in the Valley since it's not so diverse. But I was glad to see a little bit of more diversity when we came back. And I thought it would be okay, but sadly that was not the case. My children have been called monkeys and niggers from other students throughout the years. Those incidents were reported, and there has never been a follow-up to what has been done. Last year, one of your school staff said, kids do not know better. What are we doing to teach them better? What are we doing? This year, the teacher tells my son to go and report it to the principal and did nothing or said nothing to the other student in that moment. My son requested to be moved to another classroom to avoid the child. Till this day, I have not received a follow-up. This month, my daughter was called a nigger in her music class after school and told me since her teacher was not present in that moment. I reported the incident to the teacher and the assistant principal. An investigation wasn't done immediately because the incident is not considered severe and a referral has to be done by the teacher to address the situation, even though I had reported the incident. I had to go to the school and request a follow-up. I am not surprised the student was not aware of the severity of the word he used since it has been used on him before. Your program, Emotional Intelligence in Elementary Schools, is not enough. It is not bringing awareness for children or parents about what certain words truly mean when used in certain people. Kids are being influenced by social media, not understanding the true definition of racial slurs, derogatory comments, and body shaming. They need to understand that what is being portrayed
Please just quick wrap up,
Do I continue?
just for about 10 seconds. We
Okay.
really hold everybody in public comments to the time limit.
Okay, they just need to understand that what is being portrayed on TV or music is not accurate. McAllen ISD advertises diversity and zero tolerance for discrimination, but that is not true since it's not considered a severe issue, and your staff investigates if the children understand what they are saying. In order to truly teach diversity and acceptance, we need to reach the parents, children, and teachers through a better program that will breach this gap of unawareness and insensitivity. We Hispanics are not immune to racial slurs and discriminations. We should know better, so we need to do better for our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Item number 5, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, item 5A, we started this series with a coffee with the superintendent. I'm going to be having 6 meetings throughout the district, specifically at our middle schools. This is just kind of like a town hall meeting to get parent community input. And we started our first coffee with the superintendent at Brown Middle School this past week, and we have a video on that. And I do want to say that we already made an announcement that my next meeting, it will be at Cathy Middle School on October the 18th. And so that will be my second meeting with a coffee with the superintendent, and I'll be having it at the rest of the middle schools throughout the year to hear from the community, meet with the community, meet with the parents, talk to the parents about things that we can discuss about things as far as how our district is serving our students and recommendations and how we can be better in serving our students and hear from our parents. So I'd like to put out the video that we had this past week at Brown Middle School, which was a very successful event already with the parents and the community being there at Brown and giving us a lot of feedback on our programs. So go ahead and play the video.
Creo que el día de hoy tuvimos una junta muy interesante porque hablamos acerca de la seguridad y de otros temas como los programas que tiene el distrito escolar, y son temas que para nosotros como padres siempre nos dan mucho pensamiento y muchas áreas hacia dónde preguntar. Pero gracias a Dios hoy fueron contestadas muchas preguntas, así que invito a los padres a que asistan a estas reuniones que el superintendente está teniendo para que puedan ellos también ser parte de estas preguntas y respuestas que el superintendente está teniendo con nosotros.
The education that our kids are receiving in the district, but also as a parent, to support that we as parents are also implementing the education at home, because that's pretty much where it starts.
If you get a chance, please attend those. Item 5B, District of Distinction Award Celebration. Dr. Gutierrez.
Recently, we produced a video on the fine art programs earning the state's District of Distinction Award for the 5th straight year. This award celebrates the visual arts, and we also have a video on that. Can you please play the video now?
It's 5 years and counting. McAllen ISD is a proud winner of the Texas Art Education Association District of Distinction Award. Art taps into creativity and critical thinking, which are vital skills for any career or endeavor. This award is emblematic of the hard work, dedication, and talent of its art students and their teachers. Thank you.
On to item number 6, recognitions. We have none?
No.
I would like to welcome the Leadership McAllen class of 44, class 44. Welcome, thank you for joining us tonight. Item number 7, proclamations. 7A, recognition of Governor Greg Abbott's proclamation regarding Dyslexia Awareness Month. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Madam President, Board of Trustees, October has been designated Dyslexia Awareness Month. McAllen ISD communicates to the importance of an early diagnosis and to provide the necessary assistance and guidance to those affected by dyslexia. Mr. May will introduce our students, and Ms. Erica, our trustees will also read the proclamation.
First we'll do the thing, and then you read the proclamation.
Our first student is Joshua Zuniga, a student from McAuliffe Elementary. Then we have Miss Zoma Romero, teacher from McAuliffe. Victoria Guerrero Ocanas, a student at Garza Elementary. Miss Melissa Garza, a teacher at Garza Elementary. Austin Carrion, a student at Roosevelt Elementary. Miss Bianca Castro, a teacher at Roosevelt. Miss Denise Rodriguez, teacher at Roosevelt. And Miss Kristen Quintanilla, Director for Accountability in RTI 504 and Dyslexia.
Trustee Rivera will now read the proclamation.
This proclamation is from the State of Texas Office of the Governor. We know that no two people are exactly alike. By this logic, therefore, no two people learn in the exact same manner. While we all face our own unique challenges, 1 in 5 Americans face an uphill battle because of dyslexia, a common and well-known learning disability that affects a person's ability to interpret spoken or written language. A series of medical advancements have attracted helpful attention to this disorder, but much work remains if we are to truly mitigate the negative impact dyslexia can have on both educational and professional advancement. In Texas, it is not our challenges that define us, but rather how we rise above them. Each year, the month of October is set aside as Dyslexia Awareness Month, not only to raise awareness of the challenges that dyslexia presents, but also to advocate for groundbreaking advancements in dyslexia detection, therapy, and treatments. By collectively supporting these Texans, we can improve the rate of timely diagnosis and give people an earlier chance at success. At this time, I encourage all Texans to educate themselves about dyslexia and to recognize the crucial role that dedicated professionals play in an interdisciplinary effort to improve the lives of people with this disability. Together, we can build a better future for those with dyslexia and ensure that no disability stands between Texans and their dreams. Therefore, I, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas, do hereby proclaim October 2024 to be Dyslexia Awareness Month in Texas and urge all Texans to observe the occasion with appropriate ceremonies and activities. In testimony whereof, I have hereunto affixed my signature this the first day of August 2024. Signed, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas.
Right here. Big smiles on 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Item 7B. I'm sorry, the proclamations. Was that the only proclamation?
7B. No, 7B. Here it is.
Okay. Item 7B, discussion and possible action to adopt a proclamation regarding Down Syndrome Awareness Month. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Madam President and Board of Trustees, administration would like to raise awareness regarding Down syndrome individuals by proclaiming the month of October as Down Syndrome Awareness Month. Mr. May will introduce our students, and Ms. Regalado, our board vice president, will read the proclamation.
All right, we're ready to begin. We'll start with student Refugio Lopez from the Strides 18 Plus program. Then Lisa Lara, the Regional Day School Program Director for the regional program. And then Juan Jose Rodriguez from Cathy Middle School, a 7th grader. And then Leonel Ramirez, coordinator for special education. Then Alejandro Cantu from the Strides 18+ program. Esther Pina from the special education teacher at Cathy Middle School. Demetrius Flores, Cathy Middle School 8th grader. And Mr. Miguel Herrera, principal at Cathy Middle School. We also have Gabriela Salazar from the Strides program. We have Maria Acosta, coordinator, special education. And we have Ana Gonzalez, a student at Houston Elementary. And then Miss Aurelia Benavides, a special education teacher at Houston. And then, of course, our executive director for special education, Miss Maribel Elizondo.
Okay. Proclamation, State of Texas, County of Hidalgo, McAllen Independent School District. Whereas approximately 1 in every 800 children are born with Down syndrome, representing approximately 5,000 births per year in the United States. Research and early intervention have resulted in dramatic improvements in the lifespan and potential. And whereas people with Down syndrome possess a wide range of abilities and are active participants in educational, occupational, social, and recreational circles of the community, and whereas McAllen ISD has supported families who have children with disabilities and special health care needs and desires to increase the support network and the support groups of those with Down syndrome across our state, now therefore I, Lucia Regalado, Vice President, Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2024 as Down Syndrome Awareness Month. I call upon all residents and public schools to join in the celebration of the many achievements of people with disabilities and their continual contribution to our communities and schools. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the McAllen Independent School District to be affixed on this 24th day of September 2024. Signed, Lucia Regalado, Vice President, Board of Trustees.
Oh.
Why? Let her work with it first, okay? Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, because he was here with his son, Jason.
Yeah, good to see you too. How'd you keep doing? Yeah? Oh my gosh, I'm old, man. Really, Psycho?
Okay, we need to.
The first one is information only.
7A.
7B only.
7.
Okay, hold on. Are we all back? That was awesome. Okay, folks, I need a motion to approve that proclamation.
Madam President, I move to approve on item 7B the proclamation regarding Down Syndrome Awareness Month.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Regalado and a second by trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0.
Madam
5-0.
President, I make a motion, we move forward item 10D4.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Aliceda and a second by trustee Regalado to move item 10D4 up. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
10D1
Aye.
and 2.
Yeah, this is the foundation, and then we can go to the next, the other.
Okay, 10D4. I have a motion by trustee Aliceda and a second by trustee Regalado. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. 10D4. Let me get there, folks.
Page 177.
Got it. Item 10D4, discussion and possible action on memorandum of agreement number 2025-149, educational public purposes with McAllen Education Foundation Board of Directors. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Madam President and Board of Trustees, the memorandum of agreement allows McAllen Education Foundation Board of Directors to formalize the relationship, ratify past activities, and acknowledge future obligations. Mr. John Ball, our staff attorney, is available to answer any questions, and administration is recommending action on this item.
Madam President, I move we accept this memorandum of agreement.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Aliceda and a second by trustee Regalado. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Now we go back to.
Madam President, I have a motion to bring forward item 10D1 and 10D2.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera and a second by trustee Regalado to move items 10D1 and 10D2 up. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. 10D1 and 10D2. Moving over to 10D1. Report regarding the financial and investment report of the quarter of April to June 2024. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Mr. David McAllen of Patterson and Associates will present the financials and investment report for the quarter of April through June of 2024. This item is for information purposes only, and I believe he's online to give us that report. Can you hear us?
Yes. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Sorry, my camera is not connecting for some reason. I'm kind of trying to see the screen that you guys have up there. It might be a little bit easier for me to do a screen share. Would you like me? Oh, I can see it now.
We can see it as well.
We can see the screen, the presentation you have. We can see it, sir.
Okay, perfect. So if you'll just tab down in reviewing the quarterly report for June 30th, there is some information. Economically speaking, we've seen the Fed obviously play the first card. We've been anticipating that at some point in time they would begin to cut rates this year. One of the things that's happening now is we're starting to see growth slowing here in the U.S. and we don't expect it to turn negative, but the unemployment rate, it finally pushed back above 4% in May before the close of the second quarter. And we were coming off a cycle low of 3.4%. And one of the other things that has changed pretty dramatically since the close of the quarter was the Fed funds futures were anticipating 2 cuts this year and up to 4 next year. Obviously, we just got 2 cuts. We got 2 for the price of 1 last week when the Fed cut 0.5%. A lot has changed. Inflation had continued to work its way down, even though it didn't quite reach the objective of 2%. We did see the personal consumption expenditures and the core PCI did get down into that upper 2% range, which was a dramatic improvement, from where we were 2 summers ago. But what you are seeing is clearly the GDP is shifting. The estimates are heading downwards for the remainder of this year and the start of next year. We expect GDP to be below 2%. If you tab to the next screen, again, we're just kind of going over some economic outlooks, and these were, again, kind of a rear view picture of what was transpiring, if you will. Is the next slide the one that says the unemployment rate, talks about the unemployment rate? I can't quite see it.
Yes, it is. We have it on screen.
Okay. So we did just finish the second longest streak of having unemployment rate below 4%. You know, that was the longest such streak in about 50 years. And again, we do think that, you know, the unemployment rate is at risk of maybe heading up. Again, we don't think there's going to be a recession just yet. But some of the economists that commented after the Fed's move last week thought, you know, perhaps the Fed does see something on the horizon that made them go, you know, more than the minimum at this first meeting. And you've had other people that thought the Fed waited a little bit too long. You've always got people Monday morning quarterbacking the Fed rate decisions naturally, but you know, they did cut rates very aggressively when everyone was told to shelter in place. You know, we you know, shut the economy down essentially. And then once they finally decided to raise rates, you know, we talked about the fact that they increased rates at the fastest pace in modern history. They raised 5.25% in just barely over 1 year. And the previous high rate cycle was 4.25%, and it took 2.5 years because it was much more gradual. But, you know, we do expect going forward, we're probably going to get the Fed to cut at least the minimum in November, and if they don't go the minimum in November, then there's a chance they'll go another 0.5% in December. But if they do go a 0.25% cut in November, they meet again on November the 7th, we expect that they'll cut a 0.25% then at their meeting in the middle of December. But if we can just keep tabbing down, we'll get past the economic commentary. The next slide should be talking about the intermediate term rates. And again, one of the complex things about where we've been is we've been in an inverted yield curve, meaning the longer you invest funds out, the lower the rates were, and the short-term rates were the highest. So that party is about to come to an end. We're starting to see a flattening between this 2-year and 5-year Treasury yield. Right now, you can see that 2-year yield, the blue line, is above the 5-year yield. And we expect that to kind of flip-flop here. The more the Fed starts to cut, it's going to force the short-end rates down more sharply. And the longer-end rates have already kind of reacted to these anticipated cuts that have just begun. If we tab down to the next slide, if we can just tab to the portfolio statistics page on page 7. We closed out June 30th with a book value of $152.1 million. That's that third line on the right. The market value was just slightly below $152 million at $151.9. The unrealized loss for the quarter was $174,000. The previous quarter was roughly $250,000 loss, so there was an improvement. There wasn't a realized gain quarter over quarter. And then you can see the accrued interest has continued to remain healthy. The average yield on the portfolio was just under 5%. The weighted average maturity is just under a half year. And the portfolio is still pretty heavy in cash, as you can see by the maturity distribution. About 2/3 of all the district funds are in mostly local government investment pools and some bank balances. And those funds that are invested, we've got 18% of the funds maturing inside of 1 year, a little over 10.5% between 1 and 2 years, and about 5% was invested between 2 and 3 years. We have, since the quarter concluded, we worked with your staff to start extending the funds that we know are not anticipated to be spent. We're trying to extend them out and lock in some yields before the Fed actions take yields even lower. If we go to the next slide, this is just a comparison of the last two quarters. In March, we had a book value of 171.2 million, and we closed June at 152.1. And the beginning market value in March was 170.9 versus 151.9. The total income for the whole quarter was just under 1.9 million. It was at 1,869,000. And again, that unrealized loss that I just mentioned, it was 174,000 this quarter compared to 257 the prior quarter. So you saw a change in a gain and an improvement of a little over 82,000. So again, the weighted average yield at the end of this quarter was a 479, and the weighted average maturity was just under a half a year. And then the next slide is just breaking down the individual funds that comprise all the district funds. And you can see the change quarter over quarter there. So the activity fund is one of the smaller fund balances. It had a slight change of 219,000. The capital projects funds, we saw some spend down there. That was reduced by 1.3 million in expenditures. The clearing fund dropped from 9.1 million to 3,166,000. So there was a spend down there of almost 6 million. Debt service fund, obviously payments were made around the February, March time frame. So that decrease was debt service payments, 6.8 million. And the general fund had a slight decrease. It dropped from 116 million to 113.2 million. And the proprietary fund also had a decrease of almost 2 million. It finished at 6.6 million from the prior quarter of almost 8.6. And then you have some reserve funds, the QSEB account. And those are being reserve funds that simply saw most of, that they increased by the amount of interest earnings roughly. So you saw that increase by almost 168,000. On the next slide, we won't get into too much granular detail, but again, we saw a little pie chart of this, and this is just showing the overall security type and how much of the portfolio it represents. So you can see that, again, bank deposits, the cash at the bank was 14.1 million. That represented 9.3% of the district funds. That was the lowest yield. The bank's not really in the business of trying to give away too much to their clients, unfortunately. But the good spot is the LGIP, the local government investment pools. That was 57% of the district funds, earning 5.4%. And then we had about 11.5 million in commercial paper. That's short-term investment, all inside of 1 year. And that was the highest yielding component at 547 yield. And it represented about 7.5% of the funds. We've got a little bit exposure in treasuries, kind of intermediate term range, average maturities just inside of 2 years at about a 5% yield. And the agency average yield there is about 4% on approximately 34 million in investments. And we had a little bit left in municipal bonds that hadn't matured out at a pretty favorable yield of 5%. So that's where we rounded out an average yield of 479 for the entire portfolio, which was around 152 million. Again, the earnings for the quarter came in at 1,869,000. And the rest of the report is very granular in nature. It just gets to the specific positions. If y'all have any questions on it, you're welcome to ask me now. If not, we'll move on to the next item.
10D2.
Yeah. Do we have any questions, comments, trustees? Okay, then we will move on to 10D2 so that you can complete your report. Report regarding, oops, I'm on the wrong one. My apologies. Item 10D2, report regarding the annual investment report for the period of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, the district provides quarterly investment reports to the board. So go ahead and present the annual investment report for the period of July the 1st, 2023 through June 30th of 2024. And this item is for information purposes only. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, and this one too contains a lot of the same economic commentary. So if we can tab down to page 7 of that annual report, Again, it's going to be a little repeat of the quarterly screen there, just taking a snapshot again of where we ended the quarter at a 479 yield. Just the book value again was 152.1 million. Market value was 151.9 million. And again, that sector distribution, we went over it. You're about 2/3 in cash, and again, 18% of the funds mature inside of 1 year. Roughly 10.5% matures between 1 and 2, and about 5% of the funds were going to mature between 2 to 3 years. The next slide, page 8, let me see, let me get on there with you guys. That again was the breakdown that we just went over from the previous quarterly report. So if I could get you to tab down to page 9, that is the year in review. This is comparing every single quarter of the year. Starting on the far left, that was Q1, Q2, Q3, and the fourth column is where we just concluded. Again, we rounded out at that 151 or 152.1 in book value, 151.9 million in market value. The one notable change here is the weighted average maturity. Like I said, we worked with staff to try to figure out which funds we can start to extend out and try to get more predictable interest earnings on the books for longer. So you saw the weighted average maturity did end up at 148 days at the end of the quarter versus 94 days for the previous quarter. And again, we did end up with the highest yield of the year, and that's likely probably going to be the high water mark now that the Fed is beginning to cut rates. You did see, again, there was a slight decrease in interest earnings, but that's largely a function of the fact that the portfolio spent down approximately $19 million. There was $19 million less earning interest. So that predominantly accounted just for that little tick down. The total interest for the year came in at just under $7.5 million. The average yield on the portfolio for the 4 quarters was 4.66%. And that weighted average maturity, again, for all 4 quarters came in at just over 3 months at 106 days. Again, that was just breaking down by components. If there was any other questions about how this fiscal year end wrapped up, I think it was fantastic. I don't think nobody 2 years ago would have predicted that we would have had that kind of interest earnings. And obviously, unfortunately, the Fed is, just now beginning that first leg down of a new cycle to start cutting rates in an effort to try to, stimulate the economy. And that should help the consumer. We've seen a lot of things that are going to be helpful for inflation. The fact that gas prices came down in the summer months and remain down. I think we've got some silver linings ahead. But obviously, the school district itself is, you guys are growing, your demographics are growing, and you guys are doing a great job. Your staff is doing a great job of communicating with us to devise the best game plan and to get the best bang for the buck for the taxpayer dollars there. If there's, again, any other questions on not just the quarter, but on the fiscal year end, feel free to ask those now.
Do we have any questions?
I have a question, and I probably should know the answer, but on page 147, on one of the CAS reconciliation reports, it says we have $1.6 million in principal balance for Mays County, Oklahoma Independent School District. That's a what?
Yeah, you're talking about one of the individual positions. On which page was it?
147.
In our packet, it's 147, but in your packet, I'm sure it's very different. But that's okay. Our local administration already explained it, so I'm fine. Thank you.
It's one of our bonds.
One of our
investments.
Yeah, that would be a municipal bond, obviously issued by that particular district in Oklahoma. It was very creditworthy issue, at the time of purchase, that obviously was one of the better rates. We only buy taxable municipal bonds when we can find one that gives us a spread over the treasuries and agency market. So like I said, at the time, that particular investment would have been it would have been one of the better options available that we took advantage of. I was just trying to find it in there. I see it on the cash reconciliation report that it matured on June the 1st, yeah, of 1.6 million.
Well, if there's no other questions, Mr. McElwain, thank you so much for joining us and providing that information for us tonight.
Well, thank you all very much for your partnership, and we, very much appreciate the opportunity to work with you guys and help you guys as you pursue the future growth of the district there. So again, thanks for having me, and I look forward to seeing you in person next time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We move on to item 8, donation.
No, yeah.
We did donations, consent, item 9. We move to, we
Madam
have no
President, I'd
donations.
like to pull items 9G, H, and I out of consent.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Aliceda and a second by trustee Thompson to move, to pull items up 9G, 9H, and 9I. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Item 9G.
Or, Madam President, I move we approve consent agenda items 9A, B, C, D, E, and F.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Aliceda and a second by trustee Regalado to approve items 9A, B, C, D, and F. Did I get those? Yep. E, A, B, C, D, E, and F. And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. So we move on to item 9G. Let me catch up there. Item 9G, discussion and possible action on approval of rejection of bids for requests for proposal number 2025-1015, Facilities Master Planning Services. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Madam President, Board of Trustees, the district solicited proposals for a facilities master planning services. The RFP terms and conditions stated that the district reserved the right to reject any and all bids. Ms. Lorena Garcia, our Deputy Superintendent for Business and Operations, is available to answer questions. We are recommending action on this item. And basically because we are requesting that we reject these bids that came in because we are going to redirect our thoughts and our planning to be a facilities needs assessment rather than a master plan. And we can discuss that more.
I so move.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Thompson and a second by trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. And then item 9H, discussion and possible action on rejection of proposals for short and long-term disability for request for proposal number 2025-1000, voluntary and supplemental insurance products and related services. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, the administration, we solicited proposals from vendors for voluntary insurance products. We have Mr. Silva, our Director of Employee Benefits and Safety and Risk Management. He's available to answer any questions in regards to this item. I believe we also have our consultant, Mr. Roger Garza, present here. We are recommending action on this item, and I would like to ask for them to come to the podium just to give us an explanation what we are proposing on this item. Go ahead, Mr. Silva.
Good evening, Madam President, trustees, Dr. Gutierrez. As it was mentioned, we solicited proposals as we do every 3 years, a 3-year cycle. We started the evaluation process that we have in prior years. We incorporated a benefit review committee this time around. And as part of this process, we're asking to reject one part of this RFP, so the disability program. So there's 7 benefits we are considering. They're all presented at the same time. We're reviewing them at the same time. However, the disability, we feel that we didn't get enough competitive responses. So we're asking for rejection of that one particular benefit so that we can go out and try and get additional responses.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera and a second by trustee Aliceda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, Mr. Andres Guadalupe Silva.
Thank you, Mr. Silva.
Item 9I, discussion and possible action.
No, that's, was that? 9I was it
Yes,
also?
yes, she pulled that one. Item 9I, discussion and possible action on amendment to agreement 2024-254, community development block grant funding for track lighting at Brown Middle School with the city of McAllen. Dr. Gutierrez.
City of McAllen submitted an amendment to agreement to extend the term. Mr. Trevino, our Executive Director for Facilities and Maintenance and Operations, is available to answer any questions in regards to this item. We are recommending action on this item. Mr. Trevino, you want to come to the podium just to address the board in regards to this item? Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Dr. Gutierrez, board members. This item is being presented to extend the contract date, and we're extending it by a couple of months as it is a requirement of the grant.
Madam President, I have a question. Mr. Trevino, on the cover letter, one of the boxes is checks. It says it's a budget amendment, but it's not, right? There's nothing, we're not adding money to this project or
No.
taking money. It's just strictly a
This is just a
calendar issue.
timeline, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I move we approve.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Aliceda and a second by trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. And we move on to items, section 10, instructional services, instructional leadership, human resources, business and operations of the Board of Trustees. Items 10A, instructional services, Dr. De Hoyos. Item 10A1, report regarding 2024-2025 awarded federal grants. Dr. Gutierrez.
For any federal grants, the districts are required to inform the Board of Trustees of any intention to apply or of awards granted to the district. Dr. De Hoyos, Associate Superintendent, will share more information, and this item is for information purposes only. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Gutierrez, and good evening, Board. Tonight, I will report on the federal grants that were awarded to McAllen ISD for the 24-25 school year. We also have all our grant program managers here present. If there's any questions, they're here to answer them. And so we start with Special Education Consolidated Grant. On this one, on IDEA B, we have 3 grants. One, Title Formula, and this is for students, special education and related services to children with disability ages 3 to 21. And we got a little bit more than $4 million there. For the B, which is preschool, and this one is to provide special education and related services to children with disabilities ages 3 to 5. And we received a little bit more than $74,000 there. And then we have the discretionary deaf for our students that are ages 3 to 21 and who are deaf or hard of hearing and are enrolled in the Regional Day School Program for the Deaf. And we received $185,483. We also have Title III, Part A, ELA, and this one is to fund the supports to develop the implementation of language instruction programs for emerging bilingual students. We received $633,131. Our Title I, Part A, Improving Basic Programs, it's a little bit more than $10 million, close to $11 million. And this one is to provide all children significant opportunities to receive a fair, equitable, and high-quality education to close educational achievement gaps. For Part C, Title I, it's for our migrant population, and we received $450,766. I'll say that again. $450,706. And this is for our migrant education students, and we support the programs that help migratory students overcome the challenges of mobility. We also have Title II, Part A, supporting effective instruction, and this is a little bit more than $1 million, and this is to increase number of effective teachers, principals, and other school leaders to help improve student achievement. Title IV, Part A, student support and academic enrichment, and we received $811,219, and this is to provide well-rounded educational opportunities to improve conditions for safe and healthy student learning, and improve technology in order to enhance academic outcomes and digital literacy of students. And then the last one, under Perkins V, this is to strengthen the career and technical education program for the 21st century, and this is mostly used for payroll of our CTE staff. And like I said, here we have our program managers present. If you have any questions, we're here to answer them.
No question? You going?
Yes, I have a question. Thank you, Dr. De Hoyos. Are these normal? Is this what are they budgeted funds, sort of? These are normal funds, or is this something that's new this year? My impression is these are normal funds that we plan for okay.
They're federal grants.
They're federal grants that we get every year that we plan on. Thank you.
I know this was a team effort. I just want to say thank you so much for everyone who has worked so hard to apply. Is there people here in the audience who we can thank for?
You want to stand up?
Mr. Sands, too.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Nava, yes, thank you. Thank you all very much.
I do have one question too, and it's just a general question. I noticed that in Title IV, Part A, it says to improve conditions for safe and healthy student learning. Can that be included to include school safety in our schools? Can we use those funds? I know last year we were able to go get some grants. Ms. Williams was able to help out with that regarding school safety, and I just wanted to know the intention of those funds.
And Dr. Olivares will come and address that.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President, board members, and Dr. Gutierrez. Yes, Title IV grant is when it talks about safety. The part that we fund right now with safety is that we do fund the 2 officers that have Buddy and Penny. And so they go to the schools and they provide presentations, student presentations on safety, bullying, prevention measures. And now this year we added the mental health component, because that's another component of Title IV. And so we added the canines. And so we're able to fund those 2 officers. So that's part of what we do with Title IV as far as the safety component goes, to do a lot of preventive presentations, a lot of community outreach. We also have the officers that they also participate, and they have classes for first offenders and so on, is an evening class for parents.
Thank you. And I just want to mention, if you've never been on campus where Buddy and Penny are there or any of them, the kids go crazy, and it's so great to see. Parents see it, and their kids talk about it, and now everybody wants a dog at their house. So
yes.
Thank you all.
We do split fund that position, 83% federal with Title IV, and then 17% is local. So local pays for the dogs, actually, but we pay the salary on the
Thank you. Thank you all.
officers.
Thank you so much to everyone who works on grants. It's never easy, and they're federal grants, so good job. Item 10A2, report regarding the RTI 504 dyslexia programs. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Madam President and Board of Trustees, the RTI 504 Dyslexia Department will report its 2024-2025 goals and efforts. Ms. Christian Quintanilla, Director for 504 RTI and Dyslexia, will share some more information. This item is for information purposes only, and it's to give the board information about this particular programs that Ms. Quintanilla oversees. And so go ahead, Ms. Quintanilla.
Yes, sir. Good evening, board. Dr. Gutierrez. I'm Christian Quintanilla, the director for RTI, which is Response to Intervention, Section 504 and Dyslexia. So I will be providing a report regarding my department. So where do we begin? McAllen ISD, we do have federal requirements to to find and identify our students. So we do have an identification referral process, and this is school-based, and parents also have the right to refer their students should there be a need, a disability, or a suspected disability. And in doing so, then we follow the procedure and we establish whether the student is a struggling learner. So they embark in the RTI process, which is the response to intervention, to provide interventions for the student. But if there is a suspected disability, we also we refer to the Section 504 to provide accommodations. So then once we establish the program of support for the student, we then align the interventions based on the tiers of support, the tier of support, or accommodations if it is a Section 504 support system. And we do provide reasonable accommodations to give students that access to the educational program and activities to the same extent as their peers without disabilities. Also, we continue monitoring. It is ongoing, and based on the need of the student, we either do the ongoing on a weekly basis, bi-weekly, but certainly by the end of the grading period, we continue to monitor not only their academic progress, but also the effectiveness of the interventions and the accommodations in place. In response to intervention, it is an early identification system. It is a multi-tier approach. And this system is to help identify students with needs in academic and behavior. This process starts with a high quality instruction, and then there is a universal screener. Once we establish that there are needs, we have a committee, and the committee is able to move forward with aligning a plan, an individualized instructional plan for the student, and align research-based interventions. Currently, under the RTI, Response to Intervention System, we are serving 972 students in our district. And this is elementary through high school. Also, I'd like to notify that we are embarking with the multi-tiered system of support, MTSS. We are spearheading that from the district alongside one of our campuses. And again, MTSS came about in marrying RTI, which is response to intervention, and the positive behavioral intervention and systems of support, so PBIS and RTI. So we are moving forward with our regional center to continue training our district personnel and therefore train our campus and better support our students, beginning with our behavioral and mental health areas, okay? Now, under Section 504, this is the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. This protects the rights of individuals with disabilities, and we are required by law to provide free and appropriate education, which is FAPE, to our students, and these are with each qualified with a disability who's in the district. Now, currently we are serving about 1,632 students, and this includes all our students with either medical or any type of disability under this Section 504. And these students have individualized accommodation plans. Now, as far as dyslexia, the Texas Education Code defines dyslexia as a disorder of constitutional origin manifested by a difficulty in learning to read, write, or spell, despite conventional instruction, adequate intelligence, and social cultural opportunities. So these are, despite all the other factors, students are still struggling with reading, writing, and also with their spelling. Now, we are mandated to appropriately screen all kinder students by the end of the school year, and we are also required by House Bill 1886 to screen our first graders by January 31st. To ensure that we screen them for dyslexia, characteristics of dyslexia, and align the support systems. And currently we are serving 1,968 students. This is including all students with a plan or receiving direct specialized reading instruction in what we call lab. Now, students with dyslexia served under Section 504, or students with dyslexia, we utilize the adapted blended program. We implement the Core 5 for elementary. So Core 5 is an adapted elementary program that it's a blended program where the teacher is able to work in small group and students also work on technology. And this is where students are learning to read so that later they can continue to read to learn. And then in the secondary, we use Power Up, and that is also to accelerate learning the literacy, gaining literacy skills. And lastly, we also have the Science of Teaching Reading, which is through letters, and Esperanza is our Spanish curriculum that we use, the Spanish program to support our Spanish-speaking students with dyslexia. Okay? And we do have outstanding news. We do have 12 dyslexia teachers are certified academic language therapists, what we call CALTs, and 2 more are pending their assessment, and all this was possible with the support of the McAllen ISD Dyslexia Department. So that is outstanding news. These dyslexia teachers are fully certified. They go through an intense 2-year program, and they are able to execute they serve the students alongside our PDIs, which are the professionals that provide dyslexia instruction, which are regular dyslexia teachers. But these individuals have actually gone through a 2-year intensive program. And our next level work, well, we are all in. We're all in here in McAllen ISD, and we are deeply committed to supporting and guiding our school leaders, our teachers, students, and staff. And we do remain focused on fortifying our partnerships with our parents, our community members, and our business organizations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have, sure.
Thank you for this presentation, and I'm so glad that we're giving so much awareness to dyslexia. Personally, it affects many members of my own family. It's the reason why I decided to become a teacher and learn more about all this. But I'm really curious about our CALT positions. I'm so proud that our district has 12 plus 2 more pending. So how does this compare, or how is this unique to surrounding districts and other districts in Texas?
So it is unique to McAllen ISD. We do have the most, it is my understanding, we do have the most certified academic, certified academic language therapists, the CALTs. I know that other surrounding districts or bigger districts, they can account for 1 or 2 CALTs versus we do have 10 and pending 2. So it is certainly a highlight here in McAllen ISD, and we are extremely proud of supporting our teachers in this intensive program. They embark on a 2-year program, and certainly this credential demonstrates their knowledge of how the brain works and the science of reading.
Right. So it's my understanding that they diagnose language-based issues, so dyslexia, dysgraphia, and they also provide intervention. I like what you said, that they're helping our students, but they're also helping our staff to learn a lot more because it's everywhere in our classrooms, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Let's see. I know that this was it's expensive, but it's a really important investment in our district to have this, and I'd really like to see us kind of market this a little bit better because no other districts have this, and I believe the most fundamental role of schools is teaching reading. Like I said, it affects 1 in 5 students, so there's going to be a few kids in each classroom that have dyslexia and other disabilities. So I want to make sure that we're really highlighting that we have this amazing program because it would be a great way to get more students in our district as well who might go to private school thinking that, oh, smaller class sizes. No, we have these people who have basically 2 master's degrees, right? They have over 700 hours of clinical work that they're doing with children. So super important. Oh, and one more thing I just wanted to point out. The programs that we have selected, Core 5, we use letters. These are all evidence-based, right? So yes. There's many studies that have proven how effective they are over many years, right?
Absolutely.
And go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that it's important that we practice with fidelity because that's how ultimately we'll teach students how to read.
100% agreed.
Yeah.
Certainly, our students have their plans and their services, and that is a conversation with our leadership, ensuring that our students receive their services based on the needs, based on their plans.
Right.
Yes.
And one more thing. I'm excited that we're moving in the MTSS direction, so I'd love to continue to hear updates how that process goes.
Certainly. Yes, ma'am.
That's it for me. Oh.
Thank you so much for your presentation. The district has invested quite a bit of money for these CALTs. So my concern is, do they have autonomy, like in the chain of command on their campus? Because these are people that could leave our district and hang a shingle up and have their own private business. And it's so important, as Trustee Kittleman said, what they're doing. Is there like a chain of command? Like, are they not allowed to be taken? Like, do they have to do lunch duty? Do they have to do bus duty? Do they have autonomy to bring kids in the morning or lunchtime, afternoon? I just want to ensure that the campus principals or staff or administration isn't using these highly qualified, highly trained people to be doing things like bus duty and stuff like that. Does your department have sort of a chain of command, sort of a standard that the principals understand, like this person we've invested a lot of money in, they have autonomy, let them stay in their lane, and do we have that in place?
Absolutely. With the associate superintendents, we do have those conversations and principal meetings, ensuring that our staff meets our students' needs and their services, that they are to remain in their lane, so that our students are able to receive their services. But yes, they do have that clear.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Thank you for that information, and thank you for
Thank you, Ms. Quintanilla.
all of this program and what it does for our kids.
Thank you.
Item 10B, instructional leadership items, we have none. Item 10C, human resources, none to report right now. And we move on to 10D3, super exciting. Report regarding preliminary fund balance and additional needs projects. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Ms. Lorena Garcia, our Deputy Superintendent for Business and Operations, will present more details on the preliminary fund balance, but also at the same time, we'd like to add that we need to talk about some additional projects that we'd like to propose and recommend. But first, we're going to cover our preliminary fund balance that we are anticipating after everything that we've been doing for the last 10 months. And then we're going to then discuss projects that we are proposing so that the board can consider and approve. And this item is for information purposes only, but we'd like to share the news with the board where we are with our finances. Go ahead, Ms. Garcia.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Gutierrez. We are very excited to share the good news with you. This is some information that we typically report to the board in November when we finalize our annual comprehensive financial report. We have been working with our external auditors in closing out the school year as of June 30th, 2024, and producing these reports. And one of the reports in that process is the fund balance. So today we are bringing you a preliminary fund balance report. As it is an estimate, the official amount will be provided in November by our external auditors. However, we have a very good gauge, and we just could not wait till November to share this with you. So first of all, we want to celebrate and thank the board and our superintendent, and of course all of the staff at McAllen ISD, including our campus administrators, our central office administrators and department heads. We also have with us today our budget savings committee members, if they can please stand and be recognized. They have worked diligently throughout the spring semester in developing innovative ways and implementing ideas to reduce our expenditures so that we can not only cover deficits, future deficits, and prepare for our current budget as well as plan for our future. So I am happy to report that our total general fund balance for 23-24 and the preliminary as of the production of this report, the total, which includes all of our special programs, which would be child nutrition and bilingual and state federal funds, as well as the non-spendables, which includes our inventory, our committed fund balance and assigned fund balance, and our unassigned fund balance. That is the grand total is $143,059,784 as of the date of this report. I do have an update. However, last year, if you compare The year was ended 22-23 at 134,836,211. Prior to that, the 21-22 was a little bit higher, 149,933,573. The reason for that is because there was a lot of ESSER money that was in the fund balance, a lot of construction and progress projects that were there. But pre-pandemic, we were seeing anywhere from the 90s to 107 in 2021. Went back a little bit longer, and 14-15 total fund balance was 80 million. So it's quite a significant change from where we have been in the past. Now this graph shows the unassigned general fund balance. So this is just the 199 portion. As you can see, it's been relatively flat since 2019, and even before that, going back quite a few years, 14-15, it was 48 million. So anywhere from 48 to 58 million. In the past 10 years, it's been about a $10 million difference in growth. And this is 199, which is unassigned fund balance that can be used by any purpose that the board or the district determines to use that. So we are projecting that for 23-24, we will finish with our report will provide an estimated 90,565,335, which is a tremendous jump from the 58 that we closed out the previous year. So that's fantastic news, and give yourself a huge pat on the back, a high five. I thought about bringing the drum line, but they were busy. No, but what I wanted to share with you is that we started 23-24 year with a budget deficit, and it was about $6.5 million because that included some deficits in the budget in addition to the compensation increases. So we had to work with that. And then this year in the spring, as we started our budget process, we discovered that we were going to have approximately $14 million deficit for this year. So we started working with our budget savings committee and all our campuses and our team, executive cabinet, our superintendent under his direction, and looking for ways to cut back on expenditures, trying to see what programs we could strategically abandon, and in some cases, some of that funding was repurposed for other more immediate needs. One of the things that we looked very closely and completely revamped the process is the selection of staff, the hiring of staff within the district. We were able to, as you know, as reported previously, we were able to reduce 150 positions prior to this summer through attrition. And these were vacancies, not terminating any individuals. That was $7.1 million that was able to be saved in that process. Since then, this summer, our HR department has been working with the secondary campuses and really scrutinizing those master schedules. And so we continue that process, and as I mentioned before, no position gets approved without the superintendent's review, and it goes through a strenuous process. We also had looked at software reductions. So as you know, we cut software subscriptions by $2 million. We also cut our department budgets by 10%. So part of that led to the savings. So going back to the total over here, the 143 million, actually, as of today, it's actually 855,570. And the reason for that is because we received a late settlement that is due to us from TEA for state funding, and I will provide that information in a bit. So that brings our unassigned up to 93,075,638. Now, this shows it in a very interesting format because it shows the difference of what the fund balance has either grown or decreased in the unassigned. As you can see, for the last few years, we've seen anywhere from a decrease of 242,000 to an increase of 1.8. Well, this year we are anticipating approximately 35 million. It says 32, but with the new state money that we're expecting, it'll be approximately 35 million. That is unprecedented in the history of McAllen ISD, and I honestly am unaware of a district that has had that large of a surplus to be assigned to the unassigned fund balance. So some of the things in addition to that that led to that surplus is our expenditures were 10 million under our revenues. So we tightened the belt. I know that that we were working with payroll costs, not filling positions, even before we had decided to cut positions, vacancies. We were keeping them open. So those expenditures were not being spent. In addition to that, there was some assigned fund balances that had been placed in the budget at the beginning of the fiscal year that was not needed to be spent, so that helped. 17 million of the $35 million increase was from ESSER. If you recall, we did move some of the ESSER funding into fund balance, and so that chart represents 17 million of that. Now we still have to move another 7.7, so that this 35 million does not include the 7.7. That's going to come in to play this year, so that's in addition to. So we had 17,480,244. That was ESSER. So the balance of that was just simply savings and reductions in expenditures, which is, I mean, even if you subtract the ESSER from the 35 million, that is still a phenomenal surplus to be reported. So thank you again to everybody that helped in that process and supported us. This shows the unassigned fund balance history again. It has a row for increases and decreases, which we showed graphically right now. But if you would pay attention to the dollar amount needed for the 75 days, TA recommends that we have at least 75 days of operating expenditures in our unassigned fund balances for unforeseen circumstances. The bottom row is the calculation of what the unassigned fund balance has been in days over the past several years. So, you know, it went from 107 to 83, and then 103 in 21-22, to back to 88 in 22-23. And for 23-24, we are projecting that to be at 123 days. Okay. So that's another improvement. What this does is not only helps us cover our deficits, but it also sets us up for future years. If you recall, we did discuss at the beginning of our budget workshops this past year, fiscal year, how there was an ESSER cliff, and what TA was recommending was that the district set aside some of those ESSER monies because, you know, it was only going to be available for 3 years, and after that, that money was not going to be around, and so the recommendation was to set some of that money aside in unassigned fund balance, and that's exactly what was done, and that's what part of the reason why we're in such a good position as we are right now. Next, we would like to move on to some of other funding sources that we have available to us, and also we would like to assign some of that fund balance for some additional needs that the district has. So the 35 million does not include the last column, which is 3.2. If we were to not assign the 3.2, then we'd actually be looking at an increase of 38 million to the unassigned fund balance, which is, an even bigger number. So, but first off, I'd like to explain what the different columns are. The first one is the projects that are based on our replacement schedule. Our district has had replacement schedules for quite a few years, maybe a decade or more, where we plan our HVAC replacements, roof replacements, fine arts equipment, fine arts uniforms, athletic uniforms, vehicles. Everything is on a schedule. That way we know ahead of time how much to set aside for what's going to be due the following year, and we're able to plan that way. So based on those replacement schedule, as well as the new safety mandates, we came up with this list. The first one is the district has a maintenance tax note balance that we have to spend. The district in 2020 took out maintenance tax note for 24 million, and that was for facility capital improvements. So we have a balance of 1.8 million in that account that has not been assigned to a particular project. And as you can see, we are recommending assigning 120,000 to camera surveillance servers for the middle schools. The current ones were purchased in 2019, and we would like to upgrade them. We also have 4 campuses that require a generator. These are small generators, and these are for the campuses that have the repeater systems. These are the radio repeater systems. They're scattered throughout the district that allow us to boost the signal from our radios. So we would like to purchase, they don't have currently a generator. That way, if electricity were to go out, we would still have radio communication. And then in addition to that, intercoms. Thigpen Zavala campus is in need of an upgrade of their intercom system. They are a priority one because they're the ones with the most need right now. And then also Nikki Rowe is also another priority one campus for intercoms and camera replacements. And as you can see, those two, actually with the following one as well, Alvarez, Rayburn, Escandon, Sanchez, those are priority 2. We are proposing paying for half of it out of the maintenance tax note, and then the rest out of the safety grant cycle 1 funds, because the safety grant is very restrictive as to what you can spend. So some of those things don't qualify, so we have to pick it up through other funds. So that's why we did the split there. We also have HVAC replacements, and we're just going based on our schedule. We've already done quite a few HVAC replacements through the maintenance tax note, and we would like to continue with Escandon, Memorial, Perez, and Fossum. The next column is the interest earnings. You just heard a report how interest earnings have been very good for the district. So the maintenance tax note itself was collecting interest, and we have a balance of 651,000. So we are proposing using some of that to fix the stadium gate and access control. The stadium gate currently is too heavy for that motor, so it keeps breaking down, so we'd like to replace that. There's also a storage solution that the district has. It's the Cisco HyperFlex storage solution. It's from 2019. We are proposing upgrading it. This system will no longer be supported by the manufacturer in about a year. So by upgrading it, we're able to leverage our investment and continue using it beyond that. So that's 280,000 there. And then fine arts, auditorium sound systems. We do need to replace the Nikki Rowe and Memorial Auditorium sound systems. They were purchased in 2016. And then the sound systems for the middle school cafeterias. Currently they have like portable systems, so we'd like to give them a professional system. McAllen is in need of a replacement of the auditorium projector as well. The next column is the safety grants. We have two. We have cycle 1 and cycle 2. Cycle 1 ends in July. We have to spend it by this July, and it's quite a bit of money. It's $3.3 million. We've already spent some of it. However, we need to finish it out. It is very restrictive. Some of the things that we can purchase are the impact-resistant film. We've already installed quite a bit in the district. We want to continue adding more. In addition to that, we do need to install a repeater system at the stadium. We currently have one, but it's lower than the press box, so we need to raise that mast higher so that we don't have any interference. And then we also want to add a generator, move a current generator to that. InformaCast, that program is what will connect the intercoms, the phone systems, the televisions, the doors to the silent panic alarm technology. And by doing that, then those expenditures, you can use the SAFE grant for like the speakers and things like that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to buy that with the grant. And then, of course, we have the rest of the intercoms, which is part of the SPAT, the silent panic alarm technology. So cycle 2, we are, you have to be minimally compliant with the safety standards before you can move on to cycle 2. And believe it or not, you only get one more month, August, to spend that money, which is very tight. So we'd like to upgrade the current video wall. Right now we had 2 TVs go down. That's at our Emergency Operations Center. So it's time to replace that. We also are picking up the rest of the costs on the intercoms for the remaining projects. And then new revenues, we put that there because we are anticipating receiving payment on the sale of the Bonham property. That's scheduled for October 7th. It's $1 million. And we also have a storm damage claim that we're expecting a check on. It is time to upgrade all of the staff devices, the laptops, the teacher laptops, and our administrative staff as well. We are proposing doing a 4-year lease purchase or lease. It's $1.3 million is the estimate for the annual payment. So that would be a recurring cost. And then for assigned fund balance, we will need a little bit more to finish out the intercoms. And then in addition to that, our bus fleet is aging. A lot of our buses are from 2012. 2012 is when the emission standards came out, so the technology is just not there. We do see a lot of breakdowns. I think it was, the number was about 24 since the beginning of the school year that have broken down. And I mean, we just started. We haven't even finished the 6 weeks. So that will get us 3 buses, but I'll tell you what, in the upcoming years, we're probably gonna need to up that to more to be able to get our fleet up to standard. Facilities maintenance operations, they also need to purchase 2 white fleet vehicles for their replacements. And also, we are renting lifts, so we'd like to purchase one for our district. Police department, they also would like to purchase a vehicle. Warehouse, their delivery trucks are from 2002 and 2004, so it's time to at least upgrade one. They do provide tables and chairs every time there's testing at the campus. They loan them out, or assemblies or whatnot, and they just never have enough. The bus repairs for 208, that money was actually deposited into fund balance last year. We're merely taking it out to fix the bus. It was part of an insurance claim. Regional day school for the deaf, program for the deaf, what happened there is we estimated enrollment numbers for McAllen ISD students based on last year's enrollment, and they did get a little bit more students, so we need to give them that funding. And then the facilities master plan, which is now a needs assessment. 300,000 probably would be the max that we would need for that. I'm hoping it's a little bit less than that, maybe 200 or 150, because we are reducing the scope. And then every year we get requests from fine arts, athletics, facilities maintenance, operation, and transportation for additional funds because they're not able to finish out the year or whatnot. So we'd like to set aside some money in case those requests come in. Now, the assigned fund balance, that money stays in fund balance until the expenditure happens. So just because we have there, 500,000 for transportation doesn't mean they will get 500,000. We will give them in increments based on their need. If they need 60,000 for fuel, whatever the case is on that. And then the other is for any other departments that throughout the year may need some of that 10% cut back. So that provides a breakdown of those amounts. So moving forward, like I said, what is not in that fund balance report that I provided is $1 million that we are anticipating receiving this October for the Bonham sale. The storm damage insurance proceeds, we have a claim that was valued at $2.4 million. We've already been paid 1.5, so there's a balance of 981. So we're about 99% complete in that process. We just need to get a report from them where the district agrees on the amount and then takes that to the board for approval, and then they can cut us the check. There is $313,000 in committed fund balance. Committed fund balance is what the board sets aside, and only the board can change that. That was set aside for Crockett re-roof. I'm bringing that up to you because you all might want to consider uncommitting that and setting that aside for other purposes. We also are working this week. We are reclassifying 7.7 million of ESSER 3 into instructional payroll expenditures. So our pay date is tomorrow. So after tomorrow, we will reclassify the teacher pay using ESSER 3, and then those 7.7 million will go into our 199 fund balance. So that'll increase the fund balance.
Some more.
And then additional state revenue. Every year, TA does a settle up. Sometimes they overpay you, sometimes they underpay you. In this case, the district was underpaid by 2.4 million, and we will be getting that additional money from the state. And that would be effective June 30, 2024. So that's why I was saying the numbers are about 2 million short. Staff reductions, as I mentioned before, we had about 33 secondary positions that were not filled, those vacancies. And that's about 1.5 million in payroll savings. Other things that can bring in additional revenue is the optional flexible school day program and additional school year. We're also at about 200 kids more than what was budgeted, 250. So that's if enrollment holds, we will have additional state funding based on that. Of course, average daily attendance, we continue to push attendance, and we're hoping that continues to increase as well. So that is my report, and I'm sorry, I know it was a long report, but a lot of information to share, so please let me know if you have any questions.
May I?
Yes.
Trustee Relamo?
So, Ms. Garcia, I think you started out by congratulating us up here, and I want to say on the contrary. It's all of this is because of you and your team and the budget team and Dr. Gutierrez. When I started out my tenure on the board, it was a very different outlook, and it was scary. And so in selecting Dr. Gutierrez and him building his team, this was the expectation, and all we did was set an expectation. And you guys have found a way, and you've made it work. And what I'm very excited about is that you all understood the message, right? And you knew what was You accepted the challenge and y'all have delivered, and you continue to deliver. It looks like it's going to continue. So thank you very much to all of you for doing that. Everybody's shouldering some of the cuts and we're all feeling it, but everybody is also going to reap the rewards of that. So I'm very anxious to see what the budget season looks like. Thank you for not holding off on telling us till November. We kind of needed some positivity. So thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
If I may also, I just want to say, to see this in such a short amount of time, once Dr. Gutierrez came in, and I know he spearheaded it, but it really takes everybody involved, and that's everybody from on top down to, you know, employees such as the janitors, cafeteria staff. It's everybody working together, understanding that we're all one. We're all wanting the same thing here. And so I just want to thank everybody. It's been tough, like Trustee Regalado was saying. Since joining the board, you're faced with what everybody else was faced with, but to have that direction and to see it happen, come to fruition so quickly is truly an achievement, and I just hope that we continue this path. We're using this to plan for the future of the district, meaning that we're fiscally responsible with our investments. Just because we're seeing an increase doesn't say, hey, let's go build another football stadium or something, right? No, that we use it to invest in our staff and in our students and in our community. So congratulations to everybody.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I do have a question about something that I was curious about seeing just because it impacted so many people, but do we have a savings from the 7th planning period?
That would be, I mean, most of the savings that we achieved this summer was at the secondary level, and it was as a result of moving positions or individuals where we were over into vacancies, and then closing those 33 positions. So if you want a rough number, it would be the 1.5.
1.5.
For the, yes,
Okay.
for the summer.
Yeah, I think just to remember a few people from the public were very concerned about natural attrition versus this planning period decision. So if there's a way that we can differentiate that and make that really clear and transparent for community members, workforce, all of that, even myself and the board, I think we'd really probably enjoy seeing some of that data and what's the consequence of positive or negative, you know, for that decision.
Dr. Canales, you've been keeping track of that, remember?
Yes, sir.
So we are keeping track of that. I wanted to say that, you know, when we came in here, we had in last year a $6 million deficit, and then the $14 million deficit for this year, which was a total of $20 million for the 2 years. Last year, 23-24 school year was $6 million, 24-25 was $14 million. So if you add both, it's $20 million. But now we can safely say that with this savings, we have wiped out the deficit because of the savings that we've had. And this is not counting that we gave everyone a raise this year. Everyone was part of the raise. So it's great to see that this is a report that not too many school districts can say this. Like this financial report, not too many school districts can report this type of finances. We will continue to monitor. We would like to give this money back to the kids and to the staff because that's what we should do. Carefully looking at it, planning for next year, but we are in good financial standing now, and I want to thank everyone. It was not easy. It was some difficult decisions had to be made along the way, but we got to give this money back to the staff and the kids moving forward. But we got out of this one, and it was a lot of work. But I want to thank everyone for having this outcome, which is a very, very positive for us now, and we can plan better for the spring semester and next year as we move on. And now we have a good, solid fund balance that unprecedented. I mean, it's in the 35 million plus fund balance. Never in the history of McAllen. I think you've seen this before, like we're seeing it now. But it was desperately and needed, and we can take a little bit side of relief that we're doing much better now than we were 8-10 months ago.
So, thank you, Dr. Gutierrez. Thank you to the Budget Savings Committee members and thank you to the entire staff. Really tough decisions, really tough criticism for everybody, including us. You know, the criticism continues even after, and might even continue, even after this great news. And we're in a much better place. And it's hard work, and they're hard decisions. And I trust that everybody sitting on this dais takes it very, very seriously when we have to make those decisions. And we did. And so I'm very proud to say that we're in a position to now look at giving back. There are people who made some big sacrifices so that we could get here. And we're here. And that's amazing. And I'm extremely, extremely proud of that. I'm proud of this whole team. And moving forward, there's nowhere to go but up. And that's the plan. And we're all in, right? So thank you, everybody that sacrificed, that gave a little, took a little. It's going to get better. We're there. It's going to get better. So with that said,
I just want to say that there's no one that took a bigger hit than fine arts. And tonight's one of the shows or one of the videos was saying how well we're doing. Fifth straight year in a row, we're at a national level in our fine arts. And so I hope that when the Budget Committee is looking at things, they will look at all the accolades that our fine arts department, that is, in my mind, severely underfunded, and took their fine arts center away. We took the 12 million ESSER funds away. So I really sincerely hope that they look at that, and that is the first group that reaps the benefits of this. Ms., do you need a motion to uncommit the fund balance of the Crockett re-roof for $313,000?
Yes, but that would have to be, we would have to bring that back as a resolution.
Okay, I was going to make a motion, but never mind.
We are, part of our facilities needs assessment that we're going to be going out for an RFP now, is we have discussed and we talked about looking at the fine arts facilities and as one of the priorities they should be looking at for our school district, because we understand that there is a need there, and so that's going to be part of our facilities needs assessment that we are going to be focusing on. And hopefully in the future, then we can start looking at borrowing some money to improve in that area.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Great news. Everybody smile. Item 10D5, discussion and possible action on the resolution of the Board of Trustees. Oops, did I miss one on the other page?
No, that's good.
No, you're good.
Resolution to the Board of Trustees identifying hazardous traffic conditions for the school year 2024-2025. Dr. Gutierrez.
Districts are required to report hazardous area conditions within a 2-mile area that require transportation to be provided for students. Mr. Barnhart, Director of Transportation, is available to answer any questions. We are recommending action in this item.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Trustee Regalado and a second from Trustee Aliceda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Item 10E, Board of Trustees items. 10E1, approval of Board of Education meeting minutes. Administration is recommending item. Action.
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Rivera and a second by Trustee Aliceda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Item 10E1A, regular board meeting minutes. September. Those are all. Board meeting September 10th, 2024.
We're recessing.
Yep, we just approved them. I'm sorry. I lost track. Item 11, recess to closed session. Board of Trustees may go into closed session pursuant to sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, and 551.089 Texas Government Code to discuss the following. 11A, Human Resources Recommendations for School Year 2024-2025. Item 11B, discussion of human resources, employee resignations, and retirees for school year 2024-2025. 11C, discussion of district emergency operations manager recommendation for 2024-2025. 11D, discussion regarding school safety and security. 11E, pending and/or potential litigation. 11F, possible real estate acquisition. At 7:37, we are recessed to closed session. at 8:53 p.m. We are back in open session. Item 11A, Human Resources Recommendations for School Year. Wait, I'm on the wrong page. I
It's 13A.
apologize. 11A.
13A.
13, I'm so sorry. I am on the wrong page. I'm super cold in here. 13A, discussion and possible action of human resources recommendations for school year 2024-2025. Dr. Gutierrez.
Human Resources submitted a list of recommendations for the 2024-2025 school year under a separate cover for discussion during the closed session. Administration is recommending action on this item.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by trustee Regalado and a second by trustee Aliceda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Item 13B, discussion of human resources, employee resignations, and retirees for school year 2024-2025. Dr. Gutierrez.
Human Resources submitted a list of resignations and retirees for the 2024-2025 school year under a separate cover for discussion during closed session. This item is for information purposes only.
13C, we're going to pull this item?
Yes, I'm recommending that we pull out this item at this time.
Okay, so we move on to 13D, discussion regarding school safety and security.
We discussed it in closed session.
As discussed in closed session? No action on that. 13, pending and potential litigation. Mr. Ball?
Just proceed as directed.
Proceed as directed. And possible real estate acquisition?
Nothing to report.
None. 14, schedule of future meetings. 14A, special board meeting Tuesday, October 1st, 2024, 5:30 p.m. at the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom Administration Building. 14B, regular board meeting Tuesday, October 8th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. at the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Administration Building. 14C, regular board meeting Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. at the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom Administration Building. And now I need to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
8:56.
Motion by trustee Regalado, second by trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say same sign. The ayes have it. Motion passes 6-0. At 8:56 p.m., we are adjourned.